Did you know that publishing is 79% non-Black Indigenous people of color? Did you also know that publishing is 89% straight/heterosexual? Did you also know that less than 6% of authors are Black? Reading diversely is not just reading from Black Indigenous people of color, but it is also investing and consuming stories by people that by some miracle and by their power of persistence were able to publish a book that in many cases they wouldn't have been able to. So today, friends, I'm going to be sharing with you 25 diverse fantasy and fiction books that are by Black Indigenous people of color, because it is important to keep our bookshelves diverse. I have with me my trusty little Latina author book mug collection here, and it is by far my favorite and quite the right mug for this video, if I do say so myself. Hello friends, welcome to this video. My name is Kim. I am an author illustrator, and in this channel I like to talk about books and writing and lifestyle in hopes to inspire you to live a cozy and magical life. Today, friends, I bring you a video that I am very passionate about, considering that there has been some sort of controversy over on TikTok. There's like this video going around, I don't know if you guys are on TikTok or if you guys have seen it, but there's this video going around about this woman who is saying that she does not need to read diversely. She doesn't want to have that stress. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. I don't know exactly what she said. All in all, she was just refusing to read diversely. Of course, you cannot force anyone to read diversely, but I am just here to show you on what you're missing out because you are choosing not to read diversely. Listen, friends, I am a published author. My book is coming out on May 21st, and I know firsthand how hard it is for someone who, I can only speak for myself, who is a Latina, how hard it is to come by these opportunities where people who come from similar backgrounds as me don't have the same opportunities to publish a novel, a book, as other people might have. That most of published authors are non-Black Indigenous people of color. And because of that narrative, I find it even more important to be able to invest and read stories by Black Indigenous people of color, because not only are you getting these wonderful, beautiful cultural stories, you're also adding to that dream of something that could not have been in many instances, in which it isn't in many other instances for other people who are pursuing traditional publishing per se. All the books being recommended in this video are a range from cozy fantasy to just fantasy to fiction to contemporary fiction, a little bit of murder and mystery in there, science fiction. It's just going to be a range of fiction in the world of fiction that just sound so good. This is going to be a lengthy video, a very chatty video, so if you're interested in diversifying your bookshelves and contributing to the dreams and hopes of these wonderful authors, then please bring something cozy or warm to drink. Bring some water. I am trying to drink more water. Bring some snacks, bring a cozy blanket, and let's talk about some diverse books that I am super anticipating. And by the way, these are books that I have not read, but that are on my TBR and they sound amazing. And I just want to share that with you so you guys can get excited about these books, so these books can get on your reading radar and hopefully introduce you to some amazing stories and some amazing authors. Also, these are in no particular order. I'm just going to be mentioning them as I wrote them down. So with that being said, friends, let's get into today's video. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna try and go pretty fast. That way we don't make this video super long. But I'm gonna start off with some of the books that I do own, starting off with The Cuentista by Donna, Barba, Higuera. I recently got this book because, you guys, I read Alebrijes by Donna, Barba, Higuera, and I just had to get their other book. This one came out first before Alebrijes, and the epilogue on Alebrijes led me to this. I was shook to say the least, and I immediately bought this. Synopsis says, a girl named Petra Peña who wanted nothing more than to be a storyteller like her abuelita. But Petra's world is ending. Earth has been destroyed by a comet, and only a few hundred scientists and their children, among them Petra and her family, have been chosen to journey to a new planet. They are the ones who must carry on the human race. Hundreds of years later, Petra wakes to this new planet and the discovery that she is the only person who remembers Earth. A sinister collective has taken over the ship during its journey, bent on erasing the sins of humanity's past. They have systematically simply purge the memories of all aboard, or purge them altogether. Petra alone now carries the stories of her past, and with them any hope for our future. Can she make them live again? You guys, if this doesn't interest you, please read Alebrijes by Donna Barba Higuera. It was so good. These are science fiction, fantasy novels based in dystopian worlds, and I was just eating it up. These are so good. I am a fan of witch books or witchy books, so the next one that I want to recommend is The Making of Yolanda la Bruja by Lorraine Avila. Look at that cover, you guys. It is gorgeous. Yolanda Alvarez is having a good year. She's starting to feel at home at Julia de Burgos High. Her school is in the Bronx. She has her best friend Victory, and maybe something with Jose, a senior boy she's getting to know. She's confident her initiation into her family's Bruja tradition will happen soon, but then a white boy, the son of a politician, appears at Julia de Burgos High, and his vibes are off, and Yolanda's initiation begins with a series of troubling visions of the violence this boy threatens. How can Yolanda protect her community in a world that doesn't listen? Only with the wisdom and love of her family, friends, and community, and the Brujas Diosas, her ancestors and guides. Honestly, just with the synopsis and what this says, I already know I'm gonna love this book. The next book that I want to recommend is also set in a dystopian world, and that is The Daughters of Izdihar by Hadeer Elsbar. The synopsis says, as a water weaver, Nehal can move and shape any water to her will, but she's limited by her lack of formal education. She desires nothing more than to attend the newly opened Weaving Academy, take complete control of her powers, and pursue a glorious future on the battlefield with the first all-female military regiment. But her family cannot afford to let her go. Crushed under her father's gambling debt, Nehal is forcibly married into a wealthy merchant family. Her new spouse, Nico, is indifferent and distant and in love with another woman, a bookseller named Georgina. This already sounds so good. Georgina has her own secret. However, she is an earth weaver with dangerously uncontrollable powers. She has no money and no prospects. Her only solace comes from her activities with the Daughters of Izdihar, a radical women's rights group at the forefront of a movement with a simple goal: for women to have a say in their own lives. They live very different lives and come from very different means, yet Nehal and Georgina have more in common than they think. The cause and Nico brings them into each other's orbit, drawn in by the group's enigmatic leader Malak Mamdo and the urge to do what is right. But their problems may seem small in the broader context of their world, as tensions are rising with a neighboring nation that desires an end to weaving and weavers. As Nehal and Georgina fights for their rights, the threat of war looms in the background, and the two women find themselves struggling to earn and keep a lasting freedom. You know what this is giving me? If you guys have seen that one show, Fort Salem, yeah, Fort Salem. This is what this is sort of reminding me. Witches who are like soldiers, as well with a little dash of a discovery of witches. Yeah, this is what this is giving me. I love those two shows, so I'm here for it. The next book that I want to recommend is a book that I've been anticipating to read, and I cannot wait to read this. And this is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemmings. I would say this might land in the cozy fantasy section. At least that's what the vibes are giving me. And you guys, this cover is just everything. Synopsis says, all she wanted to do was live her life in peace. Maybe get a cat, expand the family spice farm, really anything that didn't involve going on an adventure where an orc might rip her face off. But they say the goddess has favorites, and if so, Sin is clearly not one of them. After Sin, in a wine-drunk stupor, saves the demon Fallon, he reveals that all he really wants to do is kill an evil witch enslaving his people. And who can blame him? But now he's dragging Cinnamon along for the ride, whether she likes it or not. On the bright side, at least he keeps burning off his shirt. I love this. I love this so much. And the new covers that came out with her whole series, because she has like 3 books of That Time I Got Drunk and something. The covers are just so stunning for these, and I cannot wait until they come out and I collect them. Please get on these books. They just sound like a really good time. Now this next book is by an author I am familiar with. They are one of my favorite authors. I read their previous book to this one and I just had such a good time. It is a middle grade, and that is Paola Santiago and the Forest of Nightmares. The first one I read in this series was Paola Santiago and the River of Tears, I believe. And it's a whole series, but I believe that you can read them as standalones. It is following Paola Santiago in each and one of them, but Paola Santiago is pretty much going through a different adventure in each book. So it is possible that you can just read them as standalones. But I also highly recommend Paola Santiago and the River of Tears because I just had such a good time with that one. So it says here, 6 months after Paola Santiago confronted the legendary ghost La Llorona, which was in the River of Tears, life is nothing like she'd expected it to be. She is barely speaking to her best friends, Dante and Emma, and what's worse, her mom has a totally annoying new boyfriend. Even with her chupacabra puppy Bruto around, Pao can't escape the feeling that she's all alone in the world. Pao has no one to tell that she's having nightmares again, this time set in a terrifying forest. Even more troubling, at their center is her estranged father, an enigma of a man she barely remembers. And when Dante's abuela falls mysteriously ill, it seems that the dad Pao never knew just might be the key to healing the eccentric old woman. Pao's search for her father will send her far from home, where she will encounter new monsters and ghosts, a devastating betrayal, and finally the forest of her nightmares. Will the truths her father has been hiding save the people Pao loves, or will they destroy them? This is full of Mexican folklore, which I love. Oh, I love this series so much, and I cannot wait to read this one. I also heard that this series is getting turned into a show, so we can look forward to that, hopefully. The next book I want to recommend, I also read another book by this author, and it is by far one of my favorite books, but because this video is about recommending books I have not read, but I still want to mention it, okay? And that is xoxo by Darcie Little Badger. Get on that book if you haven't read it. It is everything. It's one of my favorite fantasy books, and it's by an indigenous author. But their other book I want to recommend that I haven't read is A Snake Falls to the Earth, also by Darcie Little Badger. And look at that very simple but very cute cover. It is just, it is so beautiful. Nina is a Lipan girl in our world. She's always felt there was something more out there. She still believes in the old stories. Oli is a cottonmouth kid from the land of spirits and monsters. Like all cottonmouths, he's been cast from home. He's found a new one on the banks of the bottomless lake. Nina and Oli have no idea the other exists, but a catastrophic event on Earth and a strange sickness that befalls Oli's best friend will drive their worlds together in a way they haven't been in centuries, and some will kill to keep them apart. This sounds so good. All right, friends, now we're going to get into the books that I don't own physically. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I have my computer over here and I have some notes. So the first book I want to recommend is titled Iseland Witch by Amanda Jayatissa. And the synopsis says, being the daughter of the village Kapua, or demon priest, Amara is used to keeping mostly to herself, influenced by her new religious practices brought in by the British colonizers. The villagers who once respected her father's craft have turned on the family, yet they all still seem to call on him whenever supernatural disturbances arise. Now someone or something is viciously seizing upon men in the jungle, but instead of enlisting Amara's father's help, the villagers have accused him of carrying out the attacks himself. As she tries to clear her father's name, Amara finds herself haunted by dreams that eerily predict the dark forces on her island, and she can't shake the feeling that it's all connected to the night she was recovering from a strange illness and woke up scared and confused to hear her mother's frantic. No one can find out what happened. I also read that this is being compared to sort of like Carrie and The Exorcist, so it is that sort of fantasy horror type of vibe. So if that is something that you're interested, check out Iseland Witch. I know I am super excited to read this. This next book I want to recommend is a book that I'm actually currently reading, and you guys, I'm like 60% into the book and it is good. And that book is The Namebearer by Natalia Hernandez. Listen to the synopsis, okay? For her entire life, the Namebearer's sole purpose has been to receive and deliver the names of the future monarchy from the flowers of prophecy. These are talking flowers, okay? Talking flowers. Flowers of prophecy are talking flowers. But when the child is finally born and the Namebearer is sent to the flowers, they refuse to name him. Instead, they deliver a prophecy. Another child was born who is more worthy of the naming, and if they are found and brought before them, it will usher in a reign of peace. Having failed in her duties, the Namebearer is considered a traitor to the crown and must hide among an elite sect of warrior women, where she experiences friendship, found family, and love. Her training as a warrior helps prepare her to embark on her quest to find the unnamed prince, clear her name, and bring peace to her realm. This is another book that is embedded with just atmospheric magic interwoven everywhere. I'm having a blast with this audiobook, and just by reading the synopsis, come on, who doesn't want to read this book? Also, the cover is just gorgeous. The colors, everything. I need that book cover as a poster because It is beautiful. So if you're a fan of the Fae and fairies and you want to get more into the Fae world, but you want to read it from a diverse lens, then I highly recommend this next book, and that is Fay Away by Rose Garcia. And the synopsis says, despite being born into the most powerful house in the fairy realm, Khalees dreads her life of duty and obligation. But everything changes when she finds a shimmery portal that offers a glance at the forbidden human realm. If discovered with the portal, it could mean her death. Yet she shares to peek anyway and finds herself face to face with a gorgeous human. Soon she is visiting her would-be enemy nightly until a malicious suitor threatens her life and her kingdom. Julio can see ghosts. It's in his blood as the son of a powerful curandera. With spirits drifting in and out of his life, Julio thinks having visions of an ethereal girl with silver hair is another part of the supernatural weirdness that happens to him. But when the very real girl shows up in the flesh, she brings a dire plea for help. Her fairy realm and his human realm are in danger, and only he can help. His head blurs a warning against his deadly path, while his heart urges him to do anything to save her, including risk his own life. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this book. Since we're talking about fairies, this next book, I have recommended this book before and it finally came out. I already placed a hold on it on my Libby account, but of course I have to wait like 2 months, so I think I'm just gonna go buy it. And that is Fae Bound by Sarah El Arifi. Listen to this. Divided by blood, imprisoned by fate, bound by desire. Welcome to the intoxicating world of the Fae. Compose yourself, Kim. Euron is a warrior in the Elven army and has known nothing but violence her whole life. Her sister Leto is trying to make a living as a diviner, seeking prophecies of a better future. When a fatal mistake leads to Euron's exile from the Elven lands, they are both forced into the terrifying wilderness beyond the borders. There they encounter the impossible, the Fae court. The Fae haven't been seen for a millennium, but now Euron and Leto are thrust into the seductive world, torn between their loyalty to each other, their Elven homeland, and their hearts. Please make this into a series, please. If you're into vampires, I know I am, check this next one out. This book is titled Rise of Midnight by Sarah A. Freitas, and the quote on here says, I just wanted my normal life back, but the vampires and demons of my city had other plans for me. What plans? I want to know. Helping vampires send a demon back to hell wasn't how Autumn thought she'll spend spring break. At 17, Autumn Hayes is no different than any other high school student, but after a strange dream one night, some unwanted changes come her way. Dark figures following her unsettling stairs, a tragedy hitting close to home. Autumn soon finds herself held captive by a group of individuals calling themselves vampires. From them, she learns she's not who she's always thought, and she must play a key role in sending a powerful demon back to hell. Things get more complicated for Autumn and the vampires when they capture an alluring strange named Blake. He's not like the others, and he's sparked their curiosity, especially Autumn's. Now Autumn must leave behind everything she's ever known and accept her new fate, fighting to prevent a possible hell on Earth, but will she lose her humanity in the process? This is giving me supernatural, which I love. This next book I already have downloaded on my Kindle and I cannot wait to read this. This is called Blood Debts by Terry J. Benton Walker, and the synopsis says, on the anniversary of these brutal events, Clement and Christina Trudeau, the 16-year-old twins, heirs to the powerful, magical, dethroned family, are mourning their father and caring for their sick mother, until by chance they discover their mother isn't sick. She's cursed by someone on the very magic council their family used to rule, someone who will come for them next. Christina, once a talented and dedicated practitioner of generational magic, has given up magic for good. An ancient spell is what killed their father, and she was the one who cast it. For Clement, magic is his lifeline, a distraction from his anger and pain, even better than the random guys he hooked up with. Christina and Clement used to be each other's most trusted confidant and friend. Now they barely speak, but if they have any hope for discovering who is coming after their family, they'll have to find a way to trust each other and their family's magic, all while solving the decade-old murder that sparked the still rising tension between the city's magical and non-magical communities. And if they don't succeed, New Orleans may see another massacre or worse. Just by it being set in New Orleans is enough for me. Okay, I love any book that the setting is in New Orleans. All right, friends, moving along. This next one is titled A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. The cover, again, fabulous. It is gorgeous. For Malik, the Solstasia Festival is a chance to escape his war-stricken home and start a new life with his sister in prosperous desert city of Zeron. But when a vengeful spirit abducts Malik's younger sister, Nadia, as a payment into the city, Malik strikes a fatal deal. Kill Karina, Crown Prince of Zeron, for Nadia's freedom. The tension. But Karina has deadly aspirations of her own. Her mother, the Sultana, has been assassinated. Her court threatens mutiny, and Solstasia looms like a knife over the neck. Grief-stricken, Karina decides to resurrect her mother through ancient magic. Resurrection? Requiring the beating heart of a king. So to resurrect her mother, she must get the beating heart of a king? Wow. And she knows just how to obtain one by offering her hand in marriage to the victor of the Solstasia competition. When Malik rigs his way into the contest, they are sent on a course to destroy each other. But as attraction flares between them and ancient evils stir, will they be able to see their tasks to death? Ooh, this sounds so good. So if you're looking for a trilogy or a duology, I'm not sure if this one's a trilogy or a duology, but I know there's more books set in this world. Then listen here. This is titled Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi, and the synopsis says, it starts with a little quote, and I quote, "They killed my mother, they took our magic, they tried to bury us. Now we rise." Okay, I'm listening. Zili Adebola remembers when the soil of Orisha hummed with magic. Burners ignited flames, tiders beckoned waves, and Zili's reaper mother summoned forth souls. But everything changed the night magic disappeared. Under the orders of a ruthless king, Magi were killed, leaving Zili without a mother and her people without hope. Now Zili has one chance to bring back magic and strike against the monarchy. With the help of a rogue princess, Zili must outwit and outrun the crown prince, who is hell-bent on eradicating magic for good. Danger lurks in Orisha, where snow leopards prowl and vengeful spirits wait in the waters. Yet the greatest danger may be Zili herself, as she struggles to control her powers and her growing feelings for an enemy. Get into it, you guys. Get into it. The next title I have on here is Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. The synopsis says, Shiori, the only princess of Kiata, has a secret. Forbidden magic runs through her veins. Normally she conceals it well, but on the morning of her betrothal ceremony, Shiori loses control. At first, her mistake seems like a stroke of luck, foretelling the wedding she never wanted, but it also catches the attention of Raikama, her stepmother. Raikama has dark magic of her own, and she banishes the young princess, turning her brothers into cranes and warning Shiori that she must speak of it to no one, for with every word that escapes her lips, one of her brothers will die. Okay, originality. Penniless, voiceless, and alone, Shiori searches for her brothers and, on her journey, uncovers a conspiracy to overtake the throne. A conspiracy more twisted and deceitful, more cunning and complex than ever Raikima's betrayal. Only Shiori can set the kingdom to rights, but to do so she must place her trust in the very boy she fought so hard not to marry. And she must embrace the magic she's been taught all her life to contain, no matter what it cost her. Ooh, such great books. Okay, can we take a second to talk about powerful book covers that will make you just buy the book solely based on the cover? Let me introduce you to The Scarlet Alchemist. This is beyond gorgeous. It is absolutely breathtaking. This is by Kylie Lee Barker, and the synopsis says, Zelan dreams of becoming a royal alchemist, of providing for her family by making alchemical gold and gems for the wealthy to eat in order to stay young forever. I know, contain yourself. But for now, she's trapped in her impoverished village in southern China, practicing an illegal form of alchemy to keep food on the table, resurrecting the dead for a price. When Zelan finally has the chance to complete her imperial exams, she ventures to the capital to compete against the best alchemists in the country in tasks she'll be lucky to survive, let alone pass. On top of that, her reputation for raising the dead has followed her to the capital, and the crown prince himself seeks out for her help, suspecting a coming of assassination attempt. The more Zelan succeeds in her alchemy, the more she gets caught in the dangerous political games of the royal family. There are monsters lurking within the palace walls, and it's only a matter of time before they and secrets of Zelan's past catch up to her. All these stories are making me so excited. This next one I have seen everywhere. It's become fairly a very popular book. Again, I cannot believe I have not read this book yet, and that is Legend Born by Tracy Dion. Synopsis says, after her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree Matthews wants nothing to do with her family memories or childhood home. A residential program for bright high schoolers at UNC Chapel High seems like the perfect escape until Bree witnesses a magical attack her very first night on campus. A flying demon feeding on human energies. A secret society of so-called legend-born students that hunt the creatures down. A mysterious teenage mage who calls himself a Merlin and who attempts and fails to wipe Bree's memory of everything she saw. The mage's failures unlock Bree's own unique magic and a buried memory within a hidden connection. The night her mother died, another Merlin was at the hospital. Now that Bree knows there's more to her mother's death than what's on the police report, she'll do whatever it takes to find out the truth, even if that means infiltrating the Legendborn as one of their initiatives. She recruits Nick, a self-exiled Legendborn with his own grudge against the group, and their reluctant partnership pulls them deeper into the society's secrets and closer to each other. But when the Legendborn reveals themselves as the descendants of King Arthur's knights and explain that a magical war is coming, Bree has to decide how far she'll go for the truth and whether she should use her magic to take the society down or join the fight. Now, yes, I do remember that this is a sort of retelling or a remix of Knights of the Round Table. I love a good remix. I love a good retelling. I need to hop on this. I need to read Legendborn ASAP. I don't even know what number we're on, but I think we're almost there. I think I have like 8 more recommendations to go. So let's continue. Let's take a sip of our water first. This next one is a middle grade novel. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while now, you know that I'm a huge fan of reading middle grade, and this one just sounded way too good. This is called City of the Plague God by Sarwat Chada. Honestly, just looking at the book cover, it just sounds like a really fun time. The synopsis says, 13-year-old Sikh wants a simple life going to school and helping at his parents' deli in the evenings. But all that is blown to smitherness when Nergal comes looking for him, thinking that Sikh holds the secret to eternal life. Turns out Sikh is immortal but doesn't know it, and that's about to get him and the entire city into deep, deep trouble. Sikh's not in this alone. He's got Belet, the adopted daughter of Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, on his side, and a former hero named Gilgamesh, who has taken up gardening in Central Park. And now all they have to do is retrieve the flower of immortality to save Manhattan from being wiped out by disease. To succeed, they'll have to conquer sly demons, treacherous gods, and their own darkest nightmares. This, I believe, is a whole series, and I cannot wait to get into all of it. I am someone who loves cozy fantasy books, and this next one is right up my alley. It has fairies, it has witches, and it just sounds like a really cozy time. And the synopsis says, a busy witch, an enamored court, and an enchanted villa filled with nosy sisters. Alessia has more to worry about than the handsome new court everyone is fawning over. The villa needs repairs, and then there are her 4 sisters who always seem to be either in trouble or causing it. With his face blood, Massimo never expected to inherit the title of Count, nor the lands that came with it, and he certainly never expected to fall for the town's quirky witch, especially when she clearly wants nothing to do with him. It will take more than magic to bring them together. This just sounds like up my alley. Literally my entire personality, these types of books. This next one, I just recently came across this book and immediately added it to my TBR because it just sounded so amazing. And that is The Deep by Rivers Solomon. Just listen to the little blurb. The water-breathing descendants of African slave women tossed overboard have built their own underwater society and must reclaim the memories of their past to shape their future in this brilliantly imaginative novella. The synopsis says, Yetu holds the memories of her people, water-dwelling descendants of pregnant African slave women thrown overboard by slave owners who live idyllic lives in the deep. Their past, too traumatic to be remembered regularly, is forgotten by everyone, save one, the historian. The demanding role has been bestowed on Yetu. Yetu remembers for everyone, and the memories, painful and powerful, traumatic and terrible and miraculous, are destroying her. And so she flees to the surface, escaping the memories, the expectations, and the responsibilities, and discovers a world her people left behind long ago. Yetta will learn more than she ever expected about her own past and about the future of her people. If they are all to survive, they'll need to reclaim the memories, reclaim their identity, and own who they really are. I just know I'm going to be sobbing to this book. I already know it. This next one is titled Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is another trilogy, so if you're looking for trilogies, then maybe look into this one. And the synopsis says, in the holy city of Tova, the winter solstice is usually a time for celebration and renewal. But this year it coincides with a solar eclipse, a rare celestial event prescribed by the sun priest as an unbalancing of the world. Meanwhile, a ship launches from a distant city bound for Tova and set to arrive on the solstice. The captain of the ship, Ziala, is a disgraced teak whose song can calm the waters around her as easily as it can wrap a man's mind. Her ship carries one passenger described as harmless. The passenger, Serapio, is a young man, blind, scared, and cloaked in destiny. As Ziala well knows, when a man is described as harmless, he usually ends up being a villain. Isn't that the most truth I've ever heard? This next one, just the storyline sounds so amazing. This is called The Siren Queen by Nguyen. Sorry again if I'm pronouncing that wrong. This is sort of a historical fiction fantasy novel. I am so excited for that. And the synopsis says, but in Luli's world, the worst monsters in Hollywood are not even the ones on screen. The studios want to own everything from her face to her name to the woman she loves, and they run on a system of bargains made in blood and ancient magic, powered by the endless sacrifice of unlucky starlets like her own. For those who do survive to earn their fame, success comes with a steep price. Luli is willing to do whatever it takes, even if that means becoming the monster herself. I love that this is based in Hollywood and how there's magic involved. That just sounds very interesting, so I cannot wait to jump into that one. We're down to our last 3 books of this books recommendation, these diverse books recommendations. This next book rec is more, it is fantasy, but it's more in the horror fantasy. So if you're into horror, check this out. And that is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. The synopsis says, The Only Good Indians follows 4 American Indian men after a disturbing event from their youth puts them in a desperate struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, these childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent, vengeful way. I've read that this is super eerie and scary and also devastatingly heartbreaking, so read at your own expense, but this sounds really, really interesting. This next book recommendation is in the sort of cozy fantasy but murder mystery spectrum. I know this author has a variety of these cozy murder mystery books. So if cozy murder mystery is your thing, then check this out. This is titled Mango, Mambo, and Murder by Raquel V. Reyes, which I love the title. And the synopsis says, food anthropologist Miriam Quinones Smith moved from New York to Coral Shores, Miami. It's traumatic enough without having to deal with her son's toddler's tantrums and her husband's midlife crises. Her best friend Alma adds some spice back into Miriam's life when she offers her a job as an on-air cooking expert on a Spanish language morning TV show. But when her newly minded star attends a women's club luncheon, a socialite sitting at her table suddenly falls face first into the chicken salad, never to nibble again. When a second woman dies soon after, suspicion arises around a controversial Cuban herbalist, Dr. Fuentes, especially after the morning show's host collapses while interviewing him. But then Detective Pullman learns that the socialite's death resulted from a drug overdose. An anonymous tip fingers Alma as the pusher. Pullman persuades Miriam to apply her culinary know-how and her understanding of Coral Shore's Caribbean culture to help find the killer and clear Alma's name. While her hubby dallies with his ex-girlfriend Juliet, Miriam quizzes her neighbors for answers and searches all manner of herbs. As the ingredients to the deadly scheme begin blending together, Miriam is on the verge of learning how and why the woman died, but her snooping may turn out to be a recipe for her own murder. I love a good murder mystery. It's always the right type of vibe to go for when you don't know what to read. For some reason, murder mysteries just always keep my attention. All right, friends, we are to our last diverse book recommendation, and that is Woven in Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez. And the little blurb on here says, a lush tapestry of magic, romance, and revolution, drawing inspiration from Bolivian politics and history. Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, the synopsis says, Jimena is the decoy condensa, a stand-in for the last remaining Illustrian royal. Her people lost everything when the usurper Atok used an ancient relic to summon ghosts and drive the Illustrians from La Ciudad. Now, Jimena, motivated by her unstable thirst for revenge and her rare ability to spin thread from moonlight, let me say that again, spin thread from moonlight. When Atok demands the real condensa's hand in marriage, it's Jimena's duty to go in her stead. She relishes the chance as Illustrian spies have reported that Altok's no longer carrying his deadly relic. If Jimena can find it, she can return the true Aristocrata to their rightful place. She hunts for the relic using her weaving ability to hide messages in tapestries for the resistance. But when a masked vigilante, a warm-hearted princess, and a thoughtful healer challenges Jimena, her mission becomes more complicated. There could be a way to overthrow the usurper without starting another war, but only if Jimena turns her back on revenge and her condensa. I hope that all these books that I mentioned on here sound invigorating, they sound interesting to you, because there are so many beautiful, beautiful novels written by Black, Indigenous people of color. And for me, it is vital and so very important to keep my bookshelves diverse. Of course, this is only 25 books out of so many out there, books that have been traditionally published, that have been self-published. So please support Black, Indigenous people of color authors. Their books are a blessing, and in many instances, it can be very rare and very hard to have these books published. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, friends. Please let me know down in the comments below which books sounded interesting, which books you are planning to read, and please down in the comments below recommend more diverse books. I would love to continue adding them to my TBR. Please also, before you leave, I would very much appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel, if you liked, commented, engaged with this video, as it really helps out my channel with the YouTube algorithm, and I would very much appreciate it. With that being said, friends, thank you so much for being here. If you made it to the end of this very chatty video, then thank you, and I hope this video is a sort of gateway into having your books become diverse. And I will leave you with our quote of the year, and that is to remember that you can create the life that you want because you so deserve it, friend. With that being said, friends, take care. I'll see you soon, and bye for now.